I might say, nobody doing it better. Y'all some lightweights. Malik Wright, up all day and all night, pushing all the buttons up to something till it's alright. He looking at it from all sides and angles. Got a stripes on his body like he played for the Bengals. Oh man, there's no one discussing it. They came, they stayed, they either did it or done it. Man, I love it, cause all they ever do is win. So kick back, relax, the TWSN.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another Bengals post-game recap show on the Sit Down with Malik Wright, presented by the Right Way Sports Network. I'm your host, Malik Wright, joined by my co-host, as always, Danielle Almeida on the ones and twos, and Zim Whodey will be joining us here very shortly. Before we jump into it, do us a favor, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live or when we upload content from the TWSN studios. Daniel, Bengals find a way to get to 4-5. They beat the Raiders 41-24. Defense gave up a total of 17 points. Game was in hand for majority after they came out of halftime and obviously scored. Didn't help that a pick six from Jack Jones, who we talked about on State of the Jungle, might make an appearance, but it was a good day overall. It was a good day. A lot of stuff to get into, a lot of stuff to talk about. But I'm not going to do that without Zim. So without further ado, let's bring Zim in for the conversation. What's going on, brother?
Who day?
Yeah.
Hey, look, what I tell you last week? I said I'm gonna come on here. I'm gonna turn up a little bit. And you see, you professional for me. I gotta see. This is what they know me for. They're like, oh my god, I gotta keep the energy going now because we gotta represent for the people that ain't at the stadium. The Bengals looking like, I will say this, a top 7 team in the AFC to me. Which means, and we'll talk about possibly a trade to maybe enhance the fact that you lost Dax Hill and give Lou something to cook with. But if you're a Bengal fan, you got something to be happy about, bro. Putting up a 40-piece. We should have gave him 50. I should have gave Joe Burrow 7 tutties. Jamar Chase, you should have caught that fade. I'm pissed. I'm Joe Burrow on the sideline. I need to run it up on these boys because I've been quiet all season, Malik. I'm ready to go.
Man, listen, you should be fired up. You should be pumped up, right? The Bengals came out in a big way. They did what they were supposed to do, what we were talking about them doing, and if you didn't get a chance, for those of y'all that are watching, we appreciate y'all. If y'all didn't get a chance to see Joe Burrow piss on the sideline, Daniel, roll the clip real quick. We didn't really pull the clip up? Okay. Well, we had a clip that we thought we were going to post of Joe Burrow giving a little bit of a side eye, a little piss. Listen, this dude is the ultimate perfectionist to me. He's a guy that wants to win time and time again. And, obviously that pick six to Jack Jones erased what could have basically been looked at as a perfect game for them. But never mind any of that. It's the NFL. Games aren't going to go perfect. There will be ups and downs, ebbs and flows. You brought up something, Zim, that I want to touch on even more. This has to be the time where they now go out there and they say, hey, we need to make a trade. We need to make something happen because our season isn't over. We have a chance to rectify it. Not only did they go out there and they defeated the Raiders, they blew the Raiders out. They blew the Raiders out without T. Higgins, without Orlando Brown, without Jermaine Burton, without Charlie Jones, without B.J. Hill. That's a lot of names right there. But they finally played like a team that we were talking about that had championship aspirations and playoff hopes. And guess what? It rested on the shoulders of Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow went out there and played his ass off. But one thing I want to make sure that we bring up, there were a lot of people out there saying fire Lou. There were a lot of people out there saying Lou Anarumo is a fraud. Lou Anarumo's defense is cooked. And let me just say this. Lou Anarumo's defense today gave up 17 points. 17 points. And honestly, that last touchdown was a garbage time touchdown. It was. For the majority of the game, they held the Raiders to 10 points. So I got to take my hat off to them, not because the Raiders are some amazing offensive juggernaut team, but there were a lot of people that didn't even think he was capable of putting together a game plan that would slow the Raiders down. There were people panicking after the first opening drive. So I'm happy for that guy. I'm happy for the Bengals defense. Hopefully they get some reinforcements. They get some juice Zim, what say you?
I thought you was. Hey, look, I thought you were about to talk about Mike Gesicki.
Oh yeah, you know, there is
in honor of my second show on here, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna put out a tweet after this show is over. Mm-hmm. We're going to give away a Mike Gesicki jersey in honor of Malik Wright being the biggest Mike Gesicki. I don't do that many giveaways. I'm gonna do this because Malik Wright was the number one Mike Gesicki, and guess who he was going up against today? Brock Bowers, who is leading tight ends or rookie tight ends or whatever stat that guy gets the garbage time touchdown at the end. I don't care. He's an op to me. Right. But aside from that, we're gonna do. So you got to stay tuned. I'm gonna do a Zim Whodey, Malik Wright, or TWSN. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure out the tweet. Make sure y'all retweet this. I'm going to give out a Mike Gesicki jersey, and we're going to give it away before Thursday Night Football. I thought you was about to get into your Mike Gesicki.
Well, but you know, I almost forgot. Let me just say this: for 3 off seasons now, I've been clamoring for the Bengals to add a Mike Gesicki, and I don't mean to, run laps right now, but I gotta say this. I was told Hayden Hurst was better than this man. I was told other tight ends that we've had were better than this guy. And Mike Gesicki, there's a reason why he's bounced from team to team. I was told that this dude was no better than any other tight end that we've had. Let me be clear. Mike Gesicki, in my eyes, is the best tight end. Although he's not a traditional tight end. Let me specify for saying this. The best receiving tight end the Bengals have had since Tyler Eifert. I said that time and time and time again. I'm telling y'all this. Mike Gesicki is going to put the Bengals in a bind. At the end of the season, they're going to have a decision to make. Do we re-sign this guy, or do we go with the young group, the young core that we have? Let me tell you guys right now, Mike Gesicki is everything that I said he would be. And what if I told you this? Psst, he hasn't even unlocked his full potential of what he's going to do in this offense. Let me tell you this. The Bengals offense is just now realizing, holy shit, we can utilize Mike Gesicki. We can have big games with Mike Gesicki. So let me ask you a question. What do you think is going to happen when T. Higgins is back? When Jamar Chase is there, when Mike Gesicki is in the building, when Jermaine Burton is added back to the offense. No, I'm not saying Mike Gesicki is going to put up 100 yards each and every single week, but don't you think it's going to be now an added element to this offense that people did not respect before? So good luck saying you're going to double team Jamar Chase. Good luck saying you're going to double team T. Higgins. You have a choice to make opposing defensive coordinators. The Bengals are now getting Mike Gesicki acclimated to this offense at the proper time. Because guess who's up next? The Baltimore Ravens.
This is the thing, though. A lot of context is removed from our season. Week 1, remember, this is a game plan for T. Higgins, and then Mike Gesicki will, maybe somewhat be featured in that. He goes out late, so then Mike Gesicki does his thing in the Chiefs game. And then, how the games have gone, there's a lot of context removed because in some of these games, there's been limited possessions. So you really don't get a chance to see that. I enjoy the evaluation process. I've come on this show. I've been a big proponent of Jermaine Burton. One of the main reasons is because I want to evaluate and see what we have right now and how do you go to the offseason. You just brought up a really good point, and I brought this up just a second ago when I was talking to some people on the forum. Mike Gesicki and Mike Hilton are the two Mikes that need to move forward with this team. When everybody talks about the leadership portion of this team and like what's missing and stuff and all these different things, it's that the Bengals have been doing it this money ball type of way where we have a contingency plan in place and then we just move over, buy Tyler Boyd, buy Joe Mixon, buy DJ Reader, buy all of these people like that because we drafted accordingly, but you can't do that every year. Sometimes you need the core components of your team and your foundation to move along with you. And sometimes those people aren't just Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. And so Mike Gesicki deserves a 2-year deal. I think Mike Hilton deserves a 2-year deal. And Mike Hilton, the beauty of Mike Hilton in this game and the beauty of Mike Hilton all season, I'm going to go in every show that I'm on. Mike Hilton has 1,000% been the best cornerback on the Bengals team. And if you're loud about T. Higgins leaving, you're loud about Jesse B, you should be just as loud as Mike Hilton. And Gesicki too, because these are guys that are big components of what it takes to win in the National Football League. It can't all just be $40-50 million dudes that you're just like, yeah, as long as I got that guy, then we're just going to win, and all I need is Joe Burrow. That's not realistic. Where's the cohesion? Where's the people that that can learn from? Mike Hilton is a guy that can tell DJ Turner a thing about impact plays. Mike Gesicki is a guy that, think about it, Tanner McLaughlin is a guy that hasn't been active all season, but he's in the mold of a Mike Gesicki.
Right.
We don't even know what's going on with Eric. All prayers up to him. His knee was the same knee that he got hurt before. So I'm not trying to put bad energy out in the air. It's just one of those things that whether the season goes the way that we want it to or not, you gotta make a decision on, yeah, we kept all these draft picks, but what's the other foundational pieces that we're going to move forward with? What are the guys that are going to be there that's going to instruct these guys that are behind them? Mike Hilton and Mike Gesicki are two guys that I feel like, I'm not going to say are crazy. They're not more important than Jamar Chase in the overall scheme of things, but they're very, very important. And I feel like our fan base does not talk about guys that make impact plays on a week-to-week basis that are consistent, because most of our woes through the season have been guys that haven't been consistent. And so when you identify a consistent player like Mike Gesicki, when he has gotten targets, you know that Mike Gesicki catch, the one that was ready to change, strong hands, third down, whatever, that's what Joe Burrow needs. Right. He needs that every single week. And if you give Joe Burrow guys like that, he can't fail you. What has happened is there have been different instances where guys have let him down along the way. Scheme has let him down, different things like that. And at the end of the day, we need to say, shit, I got a Mike Gesicki that's going to be dependable, reliable, whatever. And I was around him, you know, when I left you in the suite over in Jersey. Shout out to the TWSN suite. You know how to treat them boys right out there. Hey, look, so we leave the suite. I go over there. Guess who I'm chilling with? Mike Gesicki. I watch people. So I took a picture of my son, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, whatever. Mike Gesicki's there too. Yoshi's there. CTB's there. Like, you know, just me chilling with the guys, right? One thing that I like about Mike Gesicki, and I watch other people in a room, is how do they move and maneuver around the room? Mike Gesicki was in that thing like, excuse me, like he had somewhere to be. You understand what I'm saying? Like, he's like me. That's how I drive a car. I got somewhere to go. You feel me? Like I'm not trying to be the fast. I'm not trying to drive 100 miles per hour, but you better move out my way. Mike Gesicki moved in the room like that, and I wanted to tell you that too the other day. The one time that I did, he had a nice little chain on and stuff. I'm like, okay, he's a dog, bro, and I'm a big dog guy. A lot of these geeks online, they start breaking out these damn spreadsheets, and they were like, but you know, EPA per play. I'm a dog dude, and I'm rough. I'm rough. When the game is like that, I got the roar. You know, it's about time that the Bengals got a chance to roar in the jungle.
So I want you to put up a comment, Daniel, from Coots Magoo.
Yeah. He
said, I'm just watching from the beginning, and they played a terrible offense again today. Stop acting like the defense is good. Coots, I'm happy that you brought that up. And everybody stay. We're going to talk about Jermaine Burr. We're going to talk about the whole everything. Nobody's running from anything. But I want to address this really quickly. You see, I watch football a little bit differently probably from you and other people, Coots. And when I watch football, I don't look at necessarily who you play. I look at what teams do great and how our defense or our defensive coordinator game plan to slow that whatever that specific offense likes to do down. Like for me, when I watch the Bengals versus Chiefs, there's a couple parameters that I look at. I look at how they do against a guy like Travis Kelce, who's a game wrecker, or when they had Tyreek Hill, how they would do against a Tyreek Hill. I don't necessarily look at, they're playing a bad team or a bad offense. Then, you know, the Bengals won or the Bengals had success defensively. That's what they were supposed to do. So one thing I want you to look at, Coots, if you can only play who's in front of you. So what, like, do you want the Bengals defense to not play good? Did you want them to, like, I don't know, like roll over a little bit at points and kind of be the same defense we've been seeing? So there was a couple of parameters I was judging it off of. So Coots, while you're here, let me read this off to you. Okay. 9 catches, 71 yards, 8 catches, 97 yards, 10 catches, 93 yards, 5 catches, 58 yards. Coots, that's Brock Bowers' stats the last couple of weeks, right? Brock Bowers has been the guy in the Raiders offense that they look to time and time again. He's a guy that has been a game wrecker for defenses. The Bengals today against Brock Bowers, 5 catches, 45 yards, and a garbage time touchdown that went when the game was already out of reach by 3 scores. So for me, when I see what the Bengals were able to do in that spot, I was very impressed with the way that they were able to put a handle on Brock Bowers, especially considering how the Bengals have fared against tight ends in their career, like under the Lou Anarumo system, or just even before Lou Anarumo. The tight ends have done well against this Bengals defense. So I am going to plant my flag and say, yeah, they did what I had hoped they would do. They did what I expected them to do. 5 catches, 45 yards for Brock Bowers, and one of the catches, which resulted in a touchdown, was a garbage time catch that resulted in a garbage time touchdown, which had no impact on the game. So yes, I am looking at it, and I'm going to say, you know what? Brock Bowers is a damn good player, but this Bengals defense did a good job holding him to 4 catches before that last one. I think they did a good job personally. But overall, man, I'm really happy with some of the returns I've seen from the defense today. They played with a lot of fire. It seemed like Trey Hendrickson was playing with a lot of fire. He got a lot of backlash after his performance last week against Fred Johnson. But one thing I want to make sure I'm clear with saying, because I want to make sure my message reigns true always, and it's consistent. The Bengals need to go out there and make a trade to get better. Trey Hendrickson needs help in the pass rush department. I did see some flashes from Myles Murphy today where he got pressure in the face of Gardner Minshew. But if you have the opportunity to add an Azeez Ojulari, you do it. Daniel, I want to make sure we get you in here to talk, because him and I, we can go back and forth all day.
You're good.
But I want to get what your overall thoughts on the Raiders game was, and what are you looking forward to this week? And by the way, Duke Tobin, I'm hoping we hear from you tomorrow. My challenge still stands. I want you to address the media, gloves off, have them ask you anything. To participate in conversations for players is not enough. Make a damn deal, pick up the phone call, get your season back on track. Daniel.
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think my biggest concern, so all around, this was a great game. Where my mind goes after this game is, how do you move forward with this? And I think you hit the nail on the head. Trey Hendrickson had 7 quarterback hits today. 7. And from the rest of the team, you had 3. So that's why I look at projecting the rest of the season, especially you go look at that Ravens game, you need outside pressure. And that's the conversation online was defensive line or cornerback. And you can definitely use cornerback help. But my philosophy, if I were building a team, is if you can get pressure on a quarterback, that's the main point. You go look at any single Super Bowl team, the Kansas City Chiefs, how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Chiefs. You go look at the San Francisco 49ers. If you can get pressure on a quarterback, you can be fine. So that's, if we're talking about trades, I'd be looking at the edge rush position. Azeez Ojulari had a great game today against Jaden Daniels. Great on the outside. Great, keeping him containment. And I think he also had 2 quarterback hits against Jaden Daniels. So very good game by him. So that's what I'm looking on the defense side of the ball. And when people are talking about this game, and people are talking about how bad the defense looked, quote unquote, the way this game could have went south was because of the way the offense was playing. After that pick 6, it was shit. Is this offense going to ruin it for the defense? And that's where, if we want to discuss what else you can be concerned on, is the play calling of, Zach Taylor and how this team continuously plays with the lead. That's what concerns me the rest of the season, right? You look at the stats, Chase Brown had an amazing game. I thought he played great. Is that going to be every single week? And no. I'm still confident in what I've seen with this coaching staff. And I'm still confident that there's going to be games, if the rushing attack is not going, great early on in the game, it's going to get phased out and it's going to be heavily reliant on Joe Burrow. So all around, I thought it was a very good game. I think my takeaway would be looking at Joe Burrow and, seeing him on the sideline, seeing him pissed off, like looking and taking a deep dive into that pick 6, right? The Jack Jones pick 6. Was that a Zach Taylor play call? Was that an execution by Andre Yoshivas? Was that something where Joe Burrow should have pulled that down? That's where my mind goes with this game. So all around, that I think that was probably the biggest red flag.
Let me ask
for those. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me ask you. The guy I'm looking at is Marshawn Lattimore, Ojulari. Let's just start with like an Ojulari. What do you think it takes for the Bengals to get an Ojulari?
I think
8-game rental. Remember, he's not under contract after this season.
and it's a day before the trade deadline. I think there's no way it's anything higher than a 4th round pick at most. At most, it's a 4th round pick. And I mean, you look at what all these other dudes are going for. Uche went for what, 6th round pick? I think you could get him for 5th or 4th, 4th at most. And if we're still talking about it, what's a 4th round pick for Azeez Ojulari? He's played his ass off this year, and he's the guy where respectfully, I could see him in the long-term pictures for somebody like Cincinnati Bengals. So I think at most it's a 4th round pick, but I would probably say a 5th round. Malik, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it would probably take. I think a 5th round pick is probably the ideal spot. Maybe a 5th and a 6th for Azeez Ojulari at this point, because he does have 6 sacks on the season. And he is a guy that they're getting rid of, not because he's not a good player. They're getting rid of because they have an overabundance at the pass rush department. And they know he's probably going to walk at the end of the year. So they might as well get something for him before.
Did you all know that his agent is a former Bengal?
Yep.
Rock family. I mean, Rock Nation. We got some good ties with him. I think, talking to Ace, Ace knows him too. So, so a lot of people behind, they be like, oh, the fans don't got nothing to do with nothing. Like, no, we got some contacts and stuff. Like, I don't think it's that crazy. I don't think Ojulari, I think JC Horn is a little bit more, because the Panthers have publicly said that they don't want to part ways with him. I think Tre'Davious White doesn't. I'm cool on him. He's been a healthy inactive. I'd rather see DJ Ivy and Newton over him. But if you have a chance to go get a Marshawn Lattimore, the kid Jack Jones from the Raiders that we just went up against, that's a 4th round pick from Arizona State, been playing pretty damn good this season, above average, I would say. I think he's a bigger, stronger body than DJ Turner, gives you a slight upgrade. That's more in the mold of what I was thinking, like someone like that. I know people throw out names like Max Crosby. I read a crazy comment just now, somebody talking about they were bricked up. Let me tell you, Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson. This is a family show, but there are things that will go crazy if Max. Like, I would give up a first and some.
I would give up a lot for a Max Crosby.
I thought the offensive line should have beat his ass earlier though. Like, what are you doing pushing Joe over like that?
Pushed at the end, man. Daniel, did you want to say?
I think that's the hard part with these conversations. If we're discussing this team, right, I think we can all agree Joe Burrow's playing like an MVP right now.
Yeah.
The Max Crosby thing, as much as, a crazy thing it may seem, okay, well, the Bengals don't normally do that. And while it's out of the realm, of likely possibility, giving up a 1st round pick for a guy, if you put him across from, Trey Hendrickson right now, you're in it. You're in it. And I think that's where, like, it may sound crazy, but man, like, what, you got to go pay him a big contract. Okay. You're pushing the money down the line. Okay. That's fine. You're trying to win a freaking Super Bowl. And at this point right now, with all signs pointing to it, this team's looking to contend this year. They've got a huge game against the Ravens. And as crazy as it may sound, like I said, the way that Joe Burrow is playing, you cannot afford it. This one last thing I want to address real quick. I see a lot of fans as well saying, hey, well, we got Joe Burrow for the rest of, his career. If we, rely on and we get the guys that we need to get them out of the house this year, next year we'll be fine. You cannot just expect that every single year you're going to be in this position. Joe Burrow's playing like an MVP candidate. He's had injury, concerns in the past. He's healthy right now. This team is ready right now. I would be calling these teams, man. And you brought up a great point. I think Max Crosby, and one guy we were talking about, Jack Jones, he's had he's had a lot of issues in the past, right? The thing with the Patriots, he got suspended. He's had a lot of his issues. But man, I see some of these comments.
This chat is crazy. In the words of Kai Cenat, chat. Can we chill out, chat?
This chat is crazy.
Some crazy stuff.
You look at TWSN looking for a Johnson & Johnson sponsor or something, according to the chat.
For those that didn't get a chance to watch the game, I think we have the clip now, Daniel, right?
Yeah.
Of Joe Burrow's reaction on the sidelines. Daniel, if you could pull that clip.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that were looking at that clip and they were like, Joe Burrow's pissed at Zach Taylor's. Joe Burrow's pissed at the way the game is going. I just think Joe Burrow is a complete perfectionist. I think he's a guy that wants to win extremely bad, and he wants to make sure he leaves nothing out there for a team to come back. I also want to say something really quickly. I saw a lot of tweets of people I guess, showing their football acumen a little bit or lack thereof, saying, why is Joe Burrow even in the game? Let me explain something to you. With the way that this
At
team
what
has
point?
played,
At what point? When they were up 21 or 14?
it was the beginning of the fourth quarter. It was
okay.
the second.
Were they up 21 or 14?
They were
up before
21.
the pick six.
It was right before the pick six.
Okay.
I would just say this. I think there was no world in which you pull him at that spot just yet. The NFL is a game of ebbs and flows. There's a lot of ups and downs, right? We've seen primarily look at the Ravens game where we had a 10-point lead twice in the fourth quarter, right? All it takes is a little bit of momentum. What are we going to do? Pin your ears back and just hand the ball off to Kendall Milton or to Chase Brown several times and then punt the ball to the Raiders and give them several possessions to potentially come back? You always, I personally believe you shouldn't pull your quarterback in a game in which you're up, I don't know, maybe like under 10 minutes. Once you're under 10 minutes, maybe we can start having that discussion. But you're in a spot where you want to make sure you leave no room for error. You want to make sure that you put this game away at all costs. So for me, I wouldn't have personally felt comfortable with seeing Joe Burrow and the offense get pulled, because if you start pulling Joe Burrow on the offense, guess what that means, guys? You're also starting to pull some people from the defensive side of the ball, which allows a Raiders team that was still had their starters out there with Desmond Ridder out there to come back. So I saw people out there like Joe. There was no reason for Joe Burrow to be out there. I completely disagree. You got to keep those guys out there. Zim, is there anything that you want to add to that before we start talking about Jermaine Burton?
No, I wasn't mad at even the play call. I'm not mad at. It's easy to be mad at something when it doesn't go right. I thought like a safe play was supposed to be a safe play. I thought it was super predictable, and I wouldn't have called that play.
Yes.
But I don't want Joe Burrow in 3 and 5 step drops either. So like screens, moving the chains, work on get some more yards for his numbers. Who cares? Like I didn't have a problem with that at all. I didn't see any problem. And then after the pick six, now you're up 14. So now he's got to be out there.
Right.
So
right.
I didn't think too much of it.
Right. I agree. It's the game. The game was still playing. I mean, this chat is crazy. Victory Roosters. I'm seeing a bunch of crazy stuff, man. Listen, people want us to talk about Jermaine Burton, and there's a lot of rumors out there right now. Let me just say, I think that Zach Taylor, I commend him for the way he's handled it.
What did he say at the presser?
He could have thrown him under the bus, and he didn't. He just said he's a young player. He had a great week of practice, and some things unraveled at the end of the week that involves with, how we handle our business off the field as well as, on the field. He said, but, a lot of people came out and said a lot of positives about Jermaine Burton. All of those things were true, myself included. He was like, and he's a young player. We're going to continue to work with him. We're going to continue to help him get up to the level of being a professional and what it takes to what's involved with being a professional athlete. And he's a guy that's going to, and I quote Zach Taylor's words, he's a guy that's going to have a really good career here in Cincinnati, and we believe in him.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Zach is the one of the best customer service agents of all time, right? I'm not 100% ever sold on Zach Taylor as the coach. I like his playbook, feel for the game, don't like whatever. All right. At what point, because I feel like we're in dangerous territory with Burton.
I agree.
At what point do you think, I see a lot of people talking about Thursday night. I don't think that he's active for Thursday night. I could be way off, but judging the responses and different things that I saw today, I think a lot of people aren't disappointed with discipline in him. And I think to get back to the part where he was at, and I feel like he let a lot of people down. I have my own thoughts that I'm gonna get into with Jermaine Burton, but at what point do you think that this is just the doghouse? And at what point do you think that maybe this thing might not work at all?
Yeah, I personally don't think it's a doghouse, bro. I think that in Zach Taylor's words, he was supposed to have a heavy part in the game plan this week for this game, and they had to scrap it. He was supposed to have a heavy part in the game plan this week. And basically some things unraveled from what's being said is he's missed walkthroughs, overslept, and missed walkthroughs on Saturday, which is a big no-no.
No call, no show.
No call, no. And from what I was told, this was not the first time this has happened this season. And
really,
yeah, this is not the first time that this happened this season. This is probably about the second or third time it's happened.
One of my boys called me Friday night on a FaceTime. He was there Friday night. So, but it's not my fault. But I just, I do know that the team was with him on Friday, though.
I know there were a lot of players out Friday night or something like that.
Shout out to it's a brand new hookah spot out in Cincy or whatever. So make sure y'all get out and check that out.
Listen, I was at the Lotto concert sitting right next to Mike Hilton. Great time. We had a great time at the Lotto concert, which let out and stuff like that. But it's one of those things where I think just we need to remember he's a rookie, right? Like it's going to be a lot of ups and downs, ebbs and flows. The returns can be something really, really special, but I don't think we should be out to the point where we're pulling out our pitchfork on the dude. Like It's almost like the Colts benching Anthony Richardson. You knew what he was when you drafted him. Right. You knew there were going to be some growing pains. You knew there were going to be some growing pains. Yeah, this chat is wild. You knew there were going to be some growing pains when you drafted the guy, which is why you spoke so much about culture. And when you got there, you got to a point, you got to that point where I'm lost my
the chat threw you off. Hey, let me bring it back for a second. Maybe I'm kind of old. They call me old and unwashed, like online, like the trolls and stuff. I'm gonna ask Daniel this question. Is it a big deal, or is this just something I'm disconnected with younger folks, right?
Yeah.
You just were told that you're not
crazy.
You're not gonna play.
Yeah.
You show up in pajamas.
That's crazy.
So is that a big deal, or is that
I think that it's his style is also different, and I think that a lot of kids nowadays, like even myself, like pajamas to school, like it's a style thing. So I think that maybe he was trying to send a message like, yo, I don't really give a fuck be here right now, but like I also wouldn't be shocked if that's just his style too. Like it's somewhere I think
if bro was playing, bro would have came to the game fitted. If bro was playing, he would have came to the game fitted already.
You think he just didn't give
why dress up if I'm not about to play?
Facts.
What I mean? Like I mean, pajamas is low-key crazy. But like before any of this stuff already happens, I already knew it was smoke when you remember when we were sitting on the couch, we were watching Ohio State versus Penn State, and I was looking at Maine's Instagram, and I noticed he had deleted all his photos. He had his profile picture was blank, and then he put on his story, "Chat, I'm going through things," and so I already knew some shit had happened. And I wanted to text him, but I didn't. I was like, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna let it rock and just see what's what. And then like, obviously what happened. But I'll just say this: it's a lot of ups and flows, ups and downs. You gotta just take it all in stride and just remember he is a young player.
I have. I'm gonna try to make this not long-winded, but I do have a real message I want to talk to Whodey and football fans about this. Mm-hmm. So the process of this Jermaine Burton thing, I want to share a different perspective that other people probably aren't thinking. The process of this Jermaine Burton thing is one of the things is I gravitated to him early as far as like Instagram and me talking or asking him about music stuff. We have similar stuff that I like, and I saw similarities in myself. And what I said by that is like, or what I mean by that is like early in the season, I thought that he would have a good game in the preseason. And if you go back to those interviews, he was very critical on himself right after it, head down, like da-da-da. He reminded me of me in high school. And when I think about, so a lot of people don't know my story. Yeah, I'm very, very much secure. I'm very much lit. I'm very much confident. You can't tell me nothing, but I had to get to that point. And there's a lot of people that I think are judging him and saying, just go to work, do a job, be a professional. You talk yourself out of it. You know, whatever. A lot of people, I had my mom and dad, they were divorced and stuff, right? But a lot of the times my neighborhood was raising me. And my neighborhood wasn't the best neighborhood. I was doing bad stuff. I got kicked out of high school. I was smart enough to be able to keep myself afloat, But a lot of people had to put their arm around me for me to get to a point where I could even come on a show like this and talk to people about certain things. I went through different parts of my life. When stuff would be good, I make a lot of money, I was real down on myself. And there's a level of depression, and there's a level of self-awareness. There's all these different factors that I see sometimes in him. And it kind of gives a soft spot for me personally for Burton. That's just my own personal thing. And if you really watch it and you know and you live like how I'm saying, and like you see the signs, and he gives me those signs. So a lot of times people that have a good infrastructure, they're very judgmental to be like, you might have had your mom and dad, you might have been raised in a different area, you might have been in an area that had a lot of a real good support system. And a lot of those people are the very first people that are just like, yeah, be a professional. But for me, I had opportunities. It wasn't easy for me just to be a professional because I was trying to prove stuff to people. I was trying to prove stuff to myself. And it took me time. It took me to have a son. It took me all these different things so that I could have this confidence that I had. I was working for somebody making a lot of money. I left that because I knew I had to be my own boss at some point because my personality just wouldn't allow it. And a lot of times, like, I thought the interview that he had, a lot of people were waiting to condemn him. There was an interview that was done, and I thought it was nasty that they took a 10-second clip of TJ Houshmandzadeh or something to be like, see, I told you, it's his fault. But him coming back out and saying, nah, like, it's not, you know, I think I can help this team. I can't put myself in the game. I thought it was him talking to himself, trying to get confidence. And a lot of people are very, very easy to be like, well, he's a millionaire, get out there. Life is not that simple. And I just want people to understand, although I have a different perspective than you, I thought that he should have got a fine, maybe set out a quarter. I wouldn't have took him out for a whole game. But that's just me knowing my background and knowing how you have to wrap your arms around the situation sometimes. I think currently right now, I wouldn't even let Burton go out with all of the dudes like that. I would have a person like a Jake Brown and Joe Burrow, a leadership Jamar Chase person, to say, let this dude stay in your guest room. I would put so many different things around this dude to make it, because he's a third-round pick. So everybody that's coming back and saying, oh, yeah, Burton, he didn't play. You don't understand. You're arguing against yourself and the success of your team. This is a third-round team. This is a third-round pick. The Bengals haven't won no Super Bowl. They ain't the Chiefs, and they don't have the luxury to lose on a third-round pick. So taking a victory lap on saying, hey, see Zim and Malik, I told you Burton wasn't who I said it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we're all on the same team and we're trying to win, there is no victory lap in Burton not playing. Burton is a part of us. Burton put on stripes. Burton helps us. Burton helps out all of our situations, and it solidifies things that are around us. I don't want to see these people on the timeline telling me about, oh yeah, see, I told you, da-da-da-da. You don't get any different glory. You're not going to get an award from any of that. All you're going to do is get back and sit back and say, damn, why did my front office fail me again? Because you're not doing anything to aid any of these different situations. The people that I know that are around them, whatever, I'm going to challenge them and be like, hey, bro, if you see Burton, tell that boy to get back in. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever I can do. If there's something I can help him out with to give a sponsorship opportunity or something, that's who I am. That's who I've been. So don't listen to these people online that like to say, oh, well, they're arguing about. No, what happens is we're adults having a difference of opinion. My ideologies and my background tell me that I need to support him. Your ideologies might say, no, my dad was a drill sergeant. We don't got a tolerance for it. And I'm not here to condemn you, but I'm here to say you need to understand that life ain't simple for everybody. And I'm living proof that you can make it through, but I'll be an idiot and I'll be lying to tell you that I didn't have help to get to this point that I'm at right now.
Man, I think that was beautifully said, man. And, you know, a lot of the stuff I resonate with you as well. You know, it's not, everybody doesn't have the same path. Everybody doesn't have the same, you know, the same upbringing, the same environment around them, I would say. And everybody's situation is drastically different. I will tell you this. I agree with Zach Taylor's approach personally to how he handled it today. But I also think that Zach has experiences that led to him not allowing things to reshape the culture that he has built. That's not me saying Zach is a good coach, or I think Zach is a great coach or anything like that. That's me just saying I think he handled it the correct way. But I do agree with Zim's perspective on it. Do y'all remember when Cordy Glenn was here and he had that? If you remember what took place that one practice where he, I think he like pushed a coach or something like that, and it was a whole big deal, and it made rounds, and the Bengals wind up shutting him down for the season, making him a healthy scratch over and over. Jermaine Burton's situation isn't that, right?
Right.
But Zach Taylor's done a lot to rebuild the culture here in Cincinnati and get it to a point where you don't have hiccups, you don't have that, and again, for a team that has spent the last 6 years building the culture, when you have your culture in place, it allows you to then take chances on players that you hope can become constructive members of that culture. You don't just give up on guys because they have a hard time acclimating themselves to life in the NFL. Joe Burrow talked a lot about his leadership and how he needed to do some things to probably change his leadership, because Joe Burrow was very much a guy that's like, hey, lead by example, but that doesn't work for everybody. Sometimes you need to talk to people. Sometimes you do need to put your arm around people and really help them throughout their process. I think we've been very spoiled and very fortunate with some of the people that we have had in Cincinnati, like an
AJ Green,
like a Jamar Chase. That's crazy. We're on the same wavelength. Jamar Chase, AJ Green, Andy Dalton, who's a devout Christian. We've had so many people who were just good players for the community. And I think Jermaine Burton, getting to speak with him on camera for as long as I did, and then speaking to him for 30 minutes afterwards off camera, and just getting to know him, man, he's a good dude.
He's different.
He's a good dude. He's different.
Isn't he a different, what I'm saying? He's a different type of personality.
Yeah.
That I think, depending on where you're from, you might not have a Jermaine Burton in your neighborhood, so you don't understand what I'm saying about this Jermaine Burton. Like, some people don't have a Jermaine Burton in their neighborhood.
Like, so, when he says alien, he has the alien. Like, he really is different. Like that. It's
like him catching the pass. When he caught the touchdown, he's just like his sellies and stuff. He's a different cat.
He's a different type of dude, and it's hard. It really is very difficult for me to put into perspective what it is. Like,
right.
I don't like his answers that when I was asking him a Dejon Anthony questions were drastically different. Like, for me, I think that Jermaine Burton is a otherworldly talented dude on the football field. And sometimes I don't think he realizes how different he actually is and how like good he actually is. He just, he views himself as, I don't even know how to explain it. Maybe we need to talk more offline about this.
After the preseason game, if I could find the clips, he had this interview. I'm talking about he's the #1 rated wide receiver in all the preseason, coming off of a major game, touchdown in the game, everything like that. Head down, like, I got to be better. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, bro, you just cooked. Like, raise your head, like, get your chin up and like talk to the people. You know what I mean? And it's a different energy. And
he's a super introvert, by the way.
Right.
He's a super introvert. He will walk in the room and not say nothing. He is like a very introverted dude.
It's a weird, it's weird. I don't know if he gravitated. I don't know if he knew the connection of me and TJ, but he only follows like 30-something people. He follows me on Twitter. And I didn't know why. And then I talked to him like briefly one day, like real quick, like nothing. I don't know him like that. And I figured out like off the break, I'm like, we kind of like the same, just off of like a weird, like, like people don't understand me or you. I'm very misunderstood. And so people that know me personally, they love me to death. People that hear about me on Twitter and stuff, or you might see like the tone of that I say it, I'm very aggressive. Like I said, when I drive, I don't want cars in front of me. I don't want to go 100 miles per hour, but it's very misunderstood. And he strikes me as that person. And that's why I think it's as a content creator that we all are, it's a hot topic because you recognize something special when you see him. And some people will be like, why y'all talking about him? Because you understand it's something there. And I think that the staff, if they're going to take a chance on a guy like that, they got to unlock him. You know who as we were talking, I think would have been perfect for him?
Who was that?
Tyler Boyd. I thought Tyler Boyd, so we talk about these foundational pieces. Let's bring it back. I'm going to bring it all back around. The Gesicki conversation of Mike Hilton. as we move forward, I want people to be very conscious about, you don't get tweets from "get this guy off my team." I don't have those tweets. If I think a guy sucks, you probably won't hear about it. I'm be like, yeah, I'm good off of him, right? But everybody has their own way of doing it. But we got to be very careful about that. Just because a guy makes a bad play or doesn't do what we want them to do in one singular game, we need to understand that this is a marathon, and there's different ebbs and flows, like you said earlier in the show, that you got to kind of go through. And as we're picking out our foundational pieces, everybody isn't going to be 1,000-yard wide receiver. I don't think Yoshi's going to be 1,000-yard wide receiver. I do know in the evaluation process that we're learning about Yoshi. He can play every single position. He's a good red zone threat. I'm not interested in seeing him in any more jump ball opportunities. Those are gone. Give those to Mike Gesicki. Give those to T. Higgins. We're good off of those, right? Yeah. But as we move forward, I think the Mike Gesicki conversation and all these different guys like that, those are very important to what we're doing. And I think if you're very quick to condemn Burton, that's fair. But just know he's very intricate to what the Bengals are about to do.
Right.
If you go into the offseason and you don't have a wide receiver too, that's a pick that honestly the Bengals could use up front. Defensive tackle, they could use an edge, they could use a corner. For a guy that wants to score a lot of points, I don't want to use that on a skill position early in the draft. I want to go and beef up the trenches. If I can get this evaluation on Burton, Yoshi, Gesicki, hopefully Eric All comes back. If I can get that on, then it'll help me. Yeah. Telling people that this guy shouldn't be da-da-da-da, it doesn't help for your cause if you want to win. And I want people to catch the overall thing. If we're really trying to win these games, it's not about winning the games the way that we want them to win. It's about winning games.
Well, one thing I will say, guys, is I don't think Zim is saying that Burton deserved preferential treatment. I don't think he's even saying – I don't think anybody is saying that. What we're saying is what – you're dealing with is a very unique situation. You're not dealing with a player with off the field problems in terms of like illegal activity or doing something that's being very costly to his status within the community or something. You're dealing with just ebbs and flows of a young player. I think that's what we're really talking about. And I think that, again, there's a lot to talk about here. I think that there's a lot of constructive criticism. I just think people need to just slow down the horses a little bit on just being like, hey, let's kick them off the team. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, it's just everybody's situation is drastically different. And
that's why I asked you and Daniel that question. I said, how far do y'all think we are from Burton possibly, because I feel like I'm out of touch with the importance of Burton the whole entire season. I've been saying since week one, Burton should have 8-10 snaps. They haven't done any of that, right? Yeah. So now that he's a healthy scratch, in my mind, I'm like, how could you make him a healthy? I feel like I'm so far off base with it.
Yeah. No,
I'm like, is he almost off the team?
No. It's not that. It's just ebbs and flows. And I'm be honest with you. I think with someone like the person I have, Jermaine Burton does want to play. I just think that it's a situation in which that the way that Zach Taylor handled it, keeping him out of the game and, showing that like this could be taken away from you as quickly as it was given to you. I think that was important. I think everybody's drastically different, but we're not talking about a situation in which he's going out there and he's just doing stupid crap. And, we all go through ups and downs. We're all humans. We all struggle.
Bro, I would challenge the shit out of Burton. Let me tell you how my philosophy on this, right? When I say put my arms around him, it's putting pressure on him like he's never seen before. It's not excusing him. Like, let's make that clear too. I would say everybody got to be here at 7:00. Jermaine Burton, you got to be here at 6:50. You see what I'm saying? Like and I don't care what you got to do. Like I would challenge him every single day. After practice, we're going to go through. I get it. You only know the X wide receiver tree. Afterwards, show me that you feel like you're a pro. After the game, whatever. I mean, after practice today, we're going to go over the Y. And I'm going to have Yoshibash, or I'm gonna have Pryor or somebody like that with you. Y'all good, y'all guys good helping Burton out after the game. I asked Burton, what you doing tonight? Okay, that's what you doing. How about you come with me? Right. So see what I'm saying? It's like I'm not trying to coddle him. And to your point, you said that you like what Zach did. I'm not. I'm like, I would have been.
You know why I like it? You know why I like it real quick? I like it because Zach has been called soft quite often here in Cincinnati. He's been called a super players coach. I think that this move right here showed that under no circumstances will I let the culture that I've built or that we've built in Cincinnati buckle for anyone.
Right.
I think that was huge for Zach Taylor.
You're right.
Now, if they would have came out here and lost, maybe I feel a little bit different.
Right.
But the fact that they came out here, they didn't miss a beat. Now, Joe Burrow, was he pitched at Jermaine Burton? We don't know.
Why was Joe Burrow so angry?
I think he was angry over the interception, but I don't know if you remember, Jermaine Burton came over to him and sat by him, and Joe Burrow.
That's crazy.
Like he was like pissed, and Joe Burrow actually got up.
Don't you think that's crazy?
He's a weird guy.
You showed up in pajamas.
Yeah.
And then you got the balls, the stones to sit next to Joe Burrow. Like, are you serious right now?
Yeah. I think there's a lot, but again, that's how Jermaine is going to learn. That's how he's going to learn. It's going to be like, oh shit, Joe, I've pissed Joe off. Oh shit, I've let my team down. I let this, I'm letting an opportunity. And then you feel all that pressure. Obviously, the media already say what they say about him, but then you watch Zach Taylor's press conference, and Zach Taylor doesn't throw you under the bus. Zach Taylor says, we're gonna work with him, we're gonna help him, we're gonna grow with him. That's sending a strong ass message to me. To me, I think that's a moment where you're like, all right, I got to get my shit together. My coach came out and supported me. Joe came out and they didn't throw me under the bus. Nobody threw me under the bus. Right. I got to get my shit in order, because he did talk about how Jermaine was supposed to be a big part of the game plan. And Jermaine Burton is closer to being a big part of this offense than he's not. And I would say. And
let me ask a question for you and Daniel again. Let me ask you this. Let's just do a quick round table. Mm-hmm. Playing today, coaches, players included, who's stock up? Whose stock is down?
Mike Gesicki's stock is up. It is up in a huge way. Whose stock is down? Damn, you go. Whose stock is down?
Whose stock is down? Yeah. I would say an Andre Yoshivas, in the sense of what people are saying, talking about the wide receivers. And I think Zimmy brought up that great point about what he is moving forward with them. And whose stock is down? I would have to say, this is kind of a weird one, but like the edge rusher position as a whole, obviously we've discussed it, but the fact that Trey did what he did and you're in this position, and Miles Murphy had that one good rep and he showed some good things, but besides that, Osai was fine. Hubbard was fine. That's what I would say. I would be looking at that. If there was any question heading into this game of, hey, what else can we do? I'm looking squarely at the edge rusher positions, saying, hey, if you're even thinking about going in and trading for somebody, that position has to be stocked down. So that's what I was at.
One thing I will tell people, look out, because we got to wait to see what happens with obviously Eric All's injury, but non-contact is never a good thing on the injury on the knee that you tore your ACL, and that's never good. But Tanner McLaughlin is a guy that I think now is probably going to get more burn, but I do think Mike Gesicki is officially going to be planted as the wide receiver 3 or the third option in his offense.
It's if T is not going to be available. I have a thought. I want to ask you about T Higgins after this too, because I do have something that I think is very important, and we kind of know how like agents work and stuff, and I want to ask you that. But I'm gonna say stock up. Gesicki for sure. Chase Brown.
Yes.
Mike Hilton is another guy. Cody Ford wasn't even mentioned today, and I thought he had a pretty good game. I'm not saying his stock is down, but it's right. Baseline is Amarius Mims. I thought that the argument could be you're going against Max Crosby. But in order for the Bengals to get where they got to go, I saw 3 reps where Max Crosby just beats him like a drum, and it doesn't seem like a big deal now. But when we go to play the Steelers, season on the line, you can't do that. And I think he's baseline. I think he played good enough. I'm not whatever. Another person that's down is Jermaine Burton. His stock is very low right now. This might be the lowest stock it'll ever be. Also stock up is Rico. I think Rico is a great punter at this point. And Joe Burrow. Stock down. CTB is who I wanted to say stock down. Yeah. Coming into the season, I thought that he had the makings of being all pro. He's given up the 3rd highest amount of yards in the National Football League. This dude is not an all pro. He's a guy that can make plays. but technique-wise, he scares me.
I think Lou's stock is up too. Not player-wise. I think Lou Anarumo's stock is up. I think everybody is, at least from people I talk to around the league, a lot of people feel like he doesn't have the resources necessary to have a competent defense out there. And I think that's the one thing that's giving him a lot of what do you call leeway. I will say this: if the Bengals were to ever move off of Lou will be a defensive coordinator in the NFL very shortly. Teams think he is good. I think they just think that he needs the talent around him to operate. One thing I will say is we talk a lot about Azeez Ojulari, and I kind of want to talk with Zim because I only get to talk to Zim once a week in front of you guys.
Just call me.
Yeah, I should. But the talks that we have, the people, it needs to be a camera in front of us. So here's what I'll say. I'm going back memory lane real quick. I know there's a lot of hype for Azeez Ojulari. Danny could tell you guys, I've had my head buried in film of Azeez Ojulari the last couple of days. And what I will say is the same similar problems that the Bengals had with a Carl Lawson, that people were like, oh, we're not going to re-sign him because of this, that, and that. When you turn on the tape and you watch Azeez Ojulari, it's very similar. You will get pressures, but if you're looking for a guy that's always going to complete the job, that's not going to always be the case. There's going to be a lot of times where Azeez Ojulari, if it does come to Cincinnati, well, he'll be close to a sack and he won't quite get there. And I'm just very curious how the reaction will be. That's what I will say. So I would just say this.
Osai was like that today.
Yes.
Where I'm like, oh, we got him. And guy just escaped.
And alligator arms it. Just alligator arms it. And it's like, oh, missed him. So I would just say this. I like if they were to add Azeez Ojulari, I like that addition. I just think that we should just be mindful, temper expectations. Zim brought up cornerback position, and I want to make sure we get him out of here soon. And we get out of here soon because we have been live for almost an hour again, bro. Who would you want the Bengals to add from the cornerback spot? I think a Marshawn Lattimore would be a little bit too rich, personally, for what the Saints are trying to get themselves out of cap hell. And then the Bengals are going to be like, okay, well, how much are you paying the salary wise? Right. And I think it's going to be, I think that'll be very, very interesting. I don't know. I'm very curious, especially if you're looking to get a cornerback and you don't want to just grab a body. You want to grab somebody that you think would be an upgrade, because I'm guessing you're not adding for a depth. You're adding to have a guy in here that could be a difference maker. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
There's some tape out there of Lattimore getting cooked too. Like, yeah, that's a name that everybody knows, but I don't know long term is that like a Bengal thing? That's why I was looking at Jack Jones being 24, fourth round pick. Like,
yo. If we talk about Jack Jones, if y'all complaining about Burton, Jack Jones is a menace. I'm talking about guns on live, getting pulled over for having drugs in the car. I mean, he's a menace. And this has been going on since ASU. Right. You want to really test Zach Taylor's culture? You want to test Zach Taylor culture? Bring on a Jack Jones and see what that's the thing about Jack Jones. Jack Jones is so talented. But I swear, if it was anywhere other than the Raiders, he would not be working. I think Antonio Pierce knows him from his days at ASU. So he puts up with a lot. Jack Jones,
Marvin Lewis was there too.
And the only reason why I know is because Daniel covered ASU and he covered Jack Jones. Jack Jones is nutty, man. Like, I'm out on him.
He's
different.
So the one thing I will say, and to kind of entertain this thought, and this is something you guys can attest with the Bengals, right? They tend to go after guys who have done well against them. You look at what Sheldon Rankins did, and I think that's kind of, a theme of guys I'm looking at say, hey, what are some of the guys that have done well against them? But Jack Jones, I'm with you. I mean, it goes back even so before he was at ASU, he played at another school and he went to a community college. And the reason why he was a 4-star, but he robbed the store. Like, he's been all over the place.
Yeah, Jack crazy, bro.
He robbed I think it was a Carl Jr. or something. And then at ASU got suspended. And then New England, we saw what happened with him. But when I tell you, and this is my analysis of him, he's a small dude, 5'10", 5'11", but if you want somebody on the outside that can win 50-50 balls, if you want a guy who's intelligent, and the play with Mike Gesicki, the touchdown, that was not on him. He was covering Jamar Chase. So everybody was bashing him, all Raiders fans say, oh, well, he's just a ball hawk. That wasn't his responsibility. So if they want a guy, I think he's but I'm with you. The culture is the
I'm good.
I don't know. I think that the Bengals have the keys to be above middle of the pack run defense. I'm not as worried about run defense as I was prior, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the coverage, man. You got Zay Flowers coming to town. I mean, we're going to town to Baltimore on Thursday. I just don't know.
Go, bro. I might go. I haven't decided yet.
I just don't know about this secondary, bro. And I just think that they can get carved up. That one I struggle with more as far as like finding out or finding a CB that I will be comfortable with. I feel like the Lattimore, he's older. The money part of it is just tough for me to get behind it. I made a list, but none of those corners strike me as whatever. JC Horn, I see somebody wrote that. JC Horn, publicly, they said that they're not trading him, so they're letting you know that the price is going to be higher than what you think. It's just tough.
I think that's where, and you got to look at the edge rusher position. That's where there's a guy right now I'm very confident will get traded. It's Arden Key from the Titans. He's a guy I watched some of his film. He's put on some great film recently. And Brian Callahan, if I were to guess what he said post game, and he was like, "Oh, Arden Key has been great for us, so on and so forth." I think he's gonna be gone, and I think he's a guy where some people are saying Detroit. But if we're looking, I think that there's a real world where they go after one of these edge rushers. I have to look. Some people are saying Preston Smith. I haven't watched enough of him with the Packers. I know that he's a little bit older. They might be out on him.
How old is he now?
I think he's almost. I think he's 30, 31.
Yeah, Preston Smith a little older.
Okay. I'm thinking 32. All right,
but I think the overall sentiment, if you bring in a guy, you need somebody who's athletic. And I went back and looking at some of these, testing numbers of these guys, like Aziz's testing numbers, Arden Key's testing numbers are off the charts versus an Osai, a Hubbard. Like they didn't test great. Like they're not explosive, crazy athletes. And I think that's what you need. You need somebody who's going to come and give you 10, 15, 20 snaps at most, but just be in there. Give me a third down. Give me a second down. Give me somebody on pass rush. But we'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
Can I say one thing about like the T. Higgins one before I get out of here or whatever? I know that we in a tough spot with him because, the Adam Schefter stuff, I hear that in my head a lot where it's like, he's going to get paid. And, 99% of me was like, get out of here. But when you go watch his agent go get Jalen Ramsey, the type of money that he got, watch his agent go in, he's a magician. Part of me feels like I know this is wild. He doesn't really have to play at all to get paid. And that's something that I didn't anticipate at all. Generally, you would say, well, this guy's got to play so that he can show other teams that he's going to be healthy enough and da-da-da-da. He does not have to with that agent. He doesn't have to. And I've been talking about executing a tag and trade. That would be T. Higgins getting 900 plus yards, and then I think you see the market, Amari and all Diggs and all these guys, 3rd, 4th round pick. I'm like, if I get 900 yards with a 25-year-old wide receiver, bro, I might get a 1st or 2nd with a weak wide receiver class coming up. But the problem is, I don't know if he's going to put enough games on tape that will warrant a tag and trade, and his agent probably would be like, I don't care about them. And if you get 1,000 yards, they're going to tag and trade you, bro, or they're going to tag you. And that's problematic for me long term. And that's a part in the back of my, and that's the reason I'm speaking on it. It makes me so uncertain about this season because of that. I don't know.
Yeah. And that's something with him too, is like, you see even the stats, like he's been great, right? But you see the stats that they put up today, right? What did the Bengals offense do with T. Higgins and what do they do without? That's what they're going to be going to these teams. And all it takes is one team. And we've seen time and time again, these teams pay these dudes a lot of money. So I'm with you. And I think that's the part where he's been good this year. He's been good. And
he's good, man.
Yeah. Look, guys, we'll be back live again Thursday. Tim, are you going to the game?
I think so. I might. Let's talk.
If you do, let me know. If you don't, let me know. Either way, me and Zim will be live at some point this week to recap this game and talk it through with y'all. We appreciate y'all so much for tuning into another recap show. Make sure you guys give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live, when we upload content. Make sure you guys follow Zim. If you already aren't doing so, you should be doing so. And I know you have another show you're about to do, or you say you have coming up here shortly. But make sure you guys follow him. We appreciate y'all. And until next time, Whodey.